All right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and today I'm here with a very special guest. I'm here with my man Troy Hutchinson, also known as Pure Adrenaline. Troy, how are you doing tonight?
Good, good, man. How you doing?
Good. Glad to hear it. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking, and thanks for taking some time to chat today.
Absolutely, brother.
Awesome. So, for those of you who might not know Troy, he is a YouTuber who focuses on content creation related to fitness, and he's also a Twitch affiliate where he does a whole bunch of cool stuff with gaming. So, that's a little bit about Troy, just kind of from like a surface level. But, Troy, do you mind talking a little bit about who you are, your background, all that good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it, brother. Um, yeah, so basically, like you said, like a YouTuber, I've been YouTubing for about going on like 5 years now, close to
Hmm.
it. Most people would probably know me through Team Dry Scoop
Yeah.
officially, and those are some really good times, dude. When we go back and talk about those, or the squad gets brought up, I'm like, wow, man, like we actually were doing some crazy things back then, and we didn't realize what it's going to turn into.
Yeah.
And you look at it now and you're like, dang, some guys are still just killing their goals and ambitions. So it's crazy to think about where it started from.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, just to give some perspective to anyone listening, Troy mentioned the Team Dry Scoop stuff. That's you know, his group of friends on YouTube that made content that I've watched all those videos and stuff. So to me, it's kind of like that surreal moment of like, being 25, it's like I've spent those years watching,
Yeah.
Troy and all the guys, and now it's like here I am talking to him and, just chatting up and stuff. So it's really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely cool, man, when people reach out and bring that stuff up. So when you
Yeah.
initially like brought it up, I'm like, wow, dude, that means that guy's been following us for 5, 6 years. It's incredible.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like you don't even realize how quickly time goes by, or it's like, man, I remember when you guys were, just doing your stuff in Ohio and stuff and driving around doing food challenges and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, man. With God, dude. Yeah, and I mean now you got Remington, who's like the star of it. He's
Mhm.
down in Texas now. Him and Ankrum, they got their own supplement line. They got their own protein bar, their own warehouse. They're just killing it right now, man. And then you
Yeah.
got Nathan has his own business as well. And then I'm striving to do my thing on Twitch, and I really went on to Twitch because it was something I YouTube got a little bit overwhelming trying to do it and
Hmm.
be a father of four,
Yeah.
have a social life, friends, girlfriend. So I put that on the back burner for a while. Went with Twitch because I was always been a gamer at heart, and I'm like, you know what, I gotta try this, man. Like I had no problem getting in front of a camera, talking to people. So it really took off at first, and then I went through the process trying to buy a house and money got
Hmm.
tight. I didn't have time to do it no more. But we kind of rekindled that spark March of last year, and it's really been going smooth and good. It's getting where it needs to be, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And Troy, definitely got to say, like, you're giving some good shout out to the rest of the guys in Team Dry Scoop and acknowledging all that they're doing. But you're crushing it too, my man. Like just seeing the things you're doing and watching your content, hopping in some of your streams sometimes and seeing what you're doing. You're definitely crushing it too, man. And you're scratching the surface. You're figuring it out, and there's gonna be huge things coming from you. I can tell.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that for real because you don't you want to give yourself credit, but you don't know because we demand so much perfectionness from ourselves,
Yeah.
and we hold ourselves to a certain level of accountability or a certain level of, like I said, perfection, and you could be making waves and doing good, but to you, you're
Hmm.
not getting where you want to be. So you start to dwell on it a little bit, which is I think is everybody's I guess their kryptonite is their own self doubt sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, going with the self doubt when it comes to whether it's your own YouTube content or streaming on Twitch or even back, when you were in a lot of Remington's videos, like, did you ever have like any self doubt of like, oh, like, is this really worth it? Or are people really going to like me or like think that I know what I'm talking about with fitness or think I'm good enough at gaming? Like, have you ever had those kind of thoughts of self doubt or has it been pretty smooth for you?
I would love to sit here and tell you, my guy, and say I never had self doubt, but even now, when I could have 20, 30 viewers or have a video go viral on TikTok, I have self doubt. I'm like, I question it because it's natural. It's natural whenever you're
Hmm.
putting your heart and passion in something that when you don't start to see what others see, or I'm sorry, when you start to not get the results that you see other famous people getting, you kind of get a
Hmm.
little self doubt, like, is this worth it? And that's
Yeah.
something that you ask yourself a lot when you're in the content creative business, because it just it gets overwhelming. It there's
Hmm.
times where you put hours into an edit and it gets, very minimum views. And then there's times where you throw out a 5 minute video and it'll get quadruple the views you've ever had. And you're just like,
Right.
what? Like, I barely put that thing together. Like, that was nothing.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. And I mean, there's so much that goes into content creation, and like it's really just like what's working today, the whole game might be completely different tomorrow.
Right.
So it's like you have to be willing to adapt and change too.
That's a big thing that I preach to a lot of people is adapt and basically overcoming things. And with fitness, that's one of the big things. Fitness is one that a lot of people they take a little too serious. So, you're crunching out your workouts. You're doing 5, 6 days a week working out, 2 hours of
Hmm.
workout cardio. You're doing your meal plans. Sometimes you get overwhelmed, you get burnt out, and you hit this like sticking point where is it worth it? Like, I don't want to do some more. It's kind of exhausting. Does anyone really care I do it? But I mean, you got to adapt and overcome, because one day you can feel great, the next you can't. And like you said, man, it's just adapting and overcoming is a big thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess Troy, is there anything that you have found helpful throughout your journey that has really helped you avoid that burnout, or just like to stay motivated even when maybe things are tough or you're not getting the views or the responses that you want?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, so consistency. That's probably
Okay.
the best thing I could ever give anybody advice with. So when I get clients that want a meal plan, and they start to come to
Hmm.
me with questions, struggling, or other fellow streamers run into incidents, they're like, "Hey, I have one viewer in my stream. Like, why should I even stream right now?" I say, you got to be consistent. You
Yeah.
have to stay the course, because a lot of times, just before you get to the end of a job or a task, it becomes the hardest it's ever been. And then if
Hmm.
you stick it out, you're able to basically get through it, that sticking point, and things start to have a way of smoothing out. It's really crazy how anything I've ever done, at the point where I was about to give up and I stay consistent with it, it literally just started to take over, like manifesting, and it literally became simpler, easier. It started coming together. So consistency would be one that I think that would be one of the biggest keys.
Definitely. And it's funny because as you said that, Troy, I think of that, like, I guess I don't know if it's a meme is the right word, but like that picture that I've seen on social media that's like someone like digging or something underground, and they're so close to hitting the gold or the diamond or whatever. They're like an inch away, but then they turn around and they
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
digging. And it's like, you know, it can be tough, and I'm sure it's not fun if you have like that one person watching the stream, or one YouTube view or whatever. But just staying consistent with it, I think, like you said, that's going to be huge, and it's all going to pay off. And once you start seeing the results, it just kind of gets easier from there.
Yeah, the biggest thing too is when people come into content creating business or
Hmm.
fitness, people want these instant gratification. They want instant results,
Yeah.
and that just does not exist. I
Right.
know we're trained through high school and school to, you know, think that success is just supposed to be given to us. Because I mean, think about it. You're kind of told to go to school, you graduate, you go to college, you get a degree, you get the good job, the women come, the cars come.
Hmm.
They don't ever talk about what really goes into being successful. It's
Yeah.
literally every day you have to put work into something for it to be
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah. I mean, it's all that work. It compounds together, and it's not easy. And I think we could all argue that it shouldn't be easy, right? Because if it was easy, then every single person in the world would be,
Right. Absolutely.
as successful as possible. It really is like what sets people apart. And, even just like thinking back to like, again, the Team Dry Scoop days, like I remember that streak that like Rem did of like 100 some uploads
Oh,
daily
yeah.
in a row and
Yeah.
stuff. And it's like, and even if, people know Remington, now it's like, he didn't just like wake up one day and make anabars with Ankrum, right? Like
Right.
this is, I mean, you can be the first one to say this has been like years and years and years and
Of
of the making.
consistency and
Yeah.
just putting your foot on the gas when everybody else was taking their foot off the gas, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what he. I mean, Remington is, and a lot of people hate on the guy, and he gets a lot of bullshit because people want to. People hate success.
Yeah.
If if you're succeeding and you look like you're living your best foot forward, and people don't know how you're doing it, that the unknowing becomes like a fucking, it's like a nagging something that just gets on them, and then
Hmm.
they turn that curiosity into hatred,
Yeah.
and he gets a lot of that. But the man has worked for everything he has where he's at,
Sure.
and it kills me when people are like, "Oh no, man, he's fake." I'm like, dude, like, why don't you try to have a conversation with the man?
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild. And I mean, like, of course, I've don't personally know Remington or anything, but just from like, watching all of his videos and seeing the way that he interacts with, all the guys, and stuff, it's like he just seems like a real genuine person to me. And like, yeah, it's kind of like weird to me when I do see people, giving him hate. And I'm sure, like, again, you know a little bit more of that than I do, being friends and stuff. But it's like the dude just seems like a great guy who's worked really hard and, has done a good job taking care of Team Dry Scoop and the rest of his friends. And
Yeah, yeah,
it's crazy, man. But it's cool to see him hitting that level of success, and especially, do you do you keep up with like Sush and James English and the Mogcast any?
yeah. I watched their mockcast.
Yeah.
We actually went to one of their parties when we were down there in Texas.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Like I like their content. So like I heard when Remington shared like his life story on the Mogcast, and I'm like,
Hmm.
dude, I had no idea like Rem had that like background and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like the dude's doing incredible, and again, like you guys all are, and it's cool to see, man. And like I'm from Michigan, pretty small town, and you guys are all from a small town in Ohio. So it's cool to see small town Midwest people just going out there and chasing after it.
yeah. I mean, getting after it. So I would have loved to have went to Texas with Ryan and Rim, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, I have family here,
Sure.
and my family's got they're seated and rooted.
Yeah.
So I had to basically, hey, I can't go with you guys, but I
Right.
still will support you, and
Hmm.
that's where we're at. But they constantly give me advice because they're obviously killing the YouTube game right now, and I
Yeah.
constantly go to Rim for advice because that dude, at the time he picked up YouTube, was around time like you didn't hear a lot of people doing it. It was like Chris Jones,
Right.
um, Christian Guzman, a couple other guys that were doing it big in fitness, Bradley Martin. And when you talk about them guys, now I talk about Rim in the same aspect, like he's in that
100%.
category.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like 100%. And I don't remember where I heard it, but it was either like Ank like made a story on Instagram or Rem or someone, but they're like, Anabars was like $2 million in sales or something, like in the first year. And I'm like, I knew they were killing it, but I had no idea like they have just like struck that much gold. But like you guys all deserve it, and it's so cool to see the hard work coming together. And I totally agree, man, that like when you think of those big fitness names, I mean, you definitely have to put Rem up there, and especially like the kind of like the anabolic cooking food community too. Like
Yeah, yeah,
to me, like
that's
he's
that's
the
crazy.
father. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
he
Greg Doucette, but
Greg Doucette,
um,
yeah, Greg Doucette is definitely the grandfather of it
he's the
all.
grandfather. Yeah.
And I love Greg's videos. I love
Hmm.
Greg. I'm hoping to meet the guy one day, just because
Yep.
his knowledge is astonishing to me, like the shit that he knows.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't think Rim is that. I think I'm a little bit more um, knowledgeable in gear and SARMs and Rim, but that's why
Yeah.
he keeps off his channel. He's strictly moved to cooking, and he's loving it.
Hmm.
He loves his content he puts out. He just he loves it. So he's making. I think he's making a good. I don't know exact amount, but I know he's making a really good killing off the cookbooks right now. And that was
I'm
that was
sure.
that was a genius idea because
Yeah.
who would want to lose weight? And if I can do it, eat healthier foods that still taste good,
Yeah.
everybody's gonna do it, man.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. Like, I feel like people doubt like the quality or how good some of these foods are. But man, like if you get Rem's cookbook, you're not going to be disappointed. Like the food's
No,
good. Like,
no, man, not at all. And that's why people see him. He'll make the food and eats it for you on camera to show you.
yeah.
And I just, it is what it is at this point. The hate he gets, but
Hmm.
there's a couple guys I follow in the fitness world that get a lot of hate. But then when you watch their videos, you're like, okay, this dude is busting his ass, putting in the
Hmm.
work. You got to give it to him, to each and every one of them.
Yeah, 100%, man. So, I'm curious with like your, fitness background, knowledge, coaching, all that stuff. Like, where did that passion come from you? Like, have you always been big into it, or like, do you have like a story of like, you were a smaller kid and you wanted to get, a lot of muscle, or like, where did the fitness come for you?
Um, well, there is a story. So,
Okay.
so I grew up with obviously with my mom, and my
Hmm.
mom and dad separated at an early age. So let's fast forward. I was kind of poor growing up, so I never ate a lot of food. We had our meals throughout the day and school lunches, etc. And then never really had a lot of sweets. That was like when we got pizza or fast food, it was like a once in a week thing, like that.
Sure.
Not like today's world where they eat out every single day.
Yeah.
And basically, at the age of 13, I was pretty much homeless for a while.
Wow.
Um, like I went to my father's house, who I barely knew, and he kind of was like, get the hell out. So I went to the only person I knew where to go was my grandmother's house. So she raised me from the age of 13 until I moved out when I was in my 20s. But she was poor,
Yeah.
and we basically ate what we could. But the thing was, I started to I don't know what happened from the age of like 14, 15. I started putting on weight, but it was like bad weight. Like I was getting
Yeah.
why are my pants so tight? Why is my shirt so tight? They're like, bro, like you're getting fat. Like
Yeah.
you need to do something. I'm like, all right. So a neighbor friend of mine by the name of Butch had a easy curl bar, the old kind that you screw the screws on the end.
Yeah.
And this thing was ancient, man. This thing was older than like the dirt in my yard. And he's like, bro, if you want that, you can have it. I was like, for real, man? He's like, yeah. So he gave it to me, and then I found a single old school dumbbell that I kept, and I worked out in my house in my bedroom every day for at least an hour a day.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy, man.
Oh, sorry, I had a cough there.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah. So I worked out for an hour a day. I asked my grandmother like, hey, what foods? And at this time, this was before internet was out. Like you didn't have YouTube, you didn't have Google. I think what the other thing you had was maybe some kind of form site,
Yeah.
and you could read people's conversations, and that's what I did. And I saw people talk about protein powder. They talked about cottage cheese, eggs. I'm like, hell, okay. So if I just eat these foods and don't eat no sugars and pop, so I gave up pop at the age of 15. I don't drink pop no more. Haven't touched it,
Okay.
and I just started working out like a freaking animal, dude. Just every day, and I did the same workouts every day: shoulders, chest, push-ups, everything.
Yeah.
And all my friends like, hey, let's go hang out, man. I'm like, nah, man, I gotta get home. I gotta go work out. They're like, huh? They're like, what you doing all that working out for? I said, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to get fat again. So
Yeah.
I get this nice foundation, this good, skinny little 150-pound body. And then I go to football, or I go to high school doing football training. And next thing I know, I took some creatine, and my coach got me on some other stuff like Nitro Tech. That
Yeah.
was a big thing back in the day. And we did all of that, man. I got to like 175 natural and
Okay.
shredded. Like I was beefed up, shredded. And I was
Yeah.
working part time at Pizza Hut. So that paid my bills for the food that I needed. It paid for my cell phone at the time because you weren't cool if you didn't have a cell phone at that age.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so I busted my ass big pizzas for 5.85 an hour, and my check would be like $200. I go pay my insurance, gas, and then I had a little bit left over. I'm like, okay, let's go to GNC and get some protein powder, man.
Yeah.
And that's what I did all the way up till I was probably 19. I got a membership at the Y, and I got really big. Like I dabbed into some steroids for a while. uh, I got massive, like up to like 245.
Okay.
And I mean, you probably seen me in some of my videos and some of my
Yeah.
friends' videos, how big I used to be.
Yep.
But we it was a passion that hit me. Like once I started doing that, once I started working out, it was like
Mhm.
the the rush of getting the pump and just feeling all of that. Like pretty much how Arnold describes it, like the pump. Like I chased it
Yeah.
every single day. And I I don't know, man. Like I just feel myself when I'm in that zone.
Yeah, I love that, man. I feel like it's just hard to describe that feeling, or like
Yeah,
that, like, that, like you said, chase the pump itself. Like I love working out, and that's why I know of your content and
right,
know of
right.
Rem's content, because like we have that similar passion, and it's like it's just there's something indescribable of that feeling when you just get that great pump, or like you go for like a great workout, whether you have a good day or a bad day. It's like it doesn't matter. You're in the gym now, and like it's
Yeah,
like your
yeah.
sanctuary.
That's exactly it. A lot of people ask like, how do you go to the gym all the time? Like, why do you? And it's the only way I describe it is it is now a habit, routine, lifestyle, but it's also that you chase that feeling. And if you
Yeah,
never experienced it, it's hard for somebody to describe.
right.
But once you experience it, you're like, oh my God, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, definitely. And so, because you do a little coaching and stuff as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Here and there, I
everything.
do some coaching on the side.
Okay. So is that something that it's like, just you I guess, is it more so just like, if I can get some extra work by coaching some people, training some people, that's great, or is kind of like teaching the same principles and things that you really learned and love, is that like a passion of yours as well?
To be honest, at first it was a way to get my name out there more, make a
Okay.
little bit more money,
Yeah.
and I think I made quite a if when I first started doing YouTube, and doing the coaching on the side, I was making more money on the coaching on the side than I was at my own job.
Wow. Okay.
But it started to take over my like free time. So I literally be at
Yeah.
home after my 9 to 5, which I was a mechanic at the time,
Hmm.
and I'm literally like, man, I can't I can't hack all this and do YouTube. But I found a way. Like I kept sticking to it, man. Just kept doing it and doing it and doing it.
Hmm.
And then I just I honestly got to the point where I was charging people like $150 for meal plans, and I was charging for like $100 for 6 week workouts and stuff. I thought long and hard about it, and I'm like, dude, like they could look up any of these meal plans and they could look up any of these workouts for free. Like, why
Hmm.
am I charging these people their hard-earned money? So I had like a moment of, I guess, like a moment of God moment or something you could say, because
Yeah.
I started to feel guilty, and I told all my dudes like, hey, I think I'm just going to start helping people for free. And it got to the point where it got too much. Like I started people at work wanting me to do it for them, people at the
Yeah.
gym, and I'm like, hold on. The reason I started to do it was because of the money, but then I started to actually enjoy helping people. I started to enjoy people coming to me saying, "Hey, man, because of you, I lost 60 pounds because of the advice you gave me," or
Yeah.
"I gained 10 pounds of muscle in the last year because of what you told me." And I know a lot of people think that like I'm this big advocate for steroids, and I'm the furthest thing, dude. I try to talk everybody in the state natural. Like, hey, look,
Yeah.
I did this. I dabbed into stuff. It's dangerous. It will hurt you, have negative effects. Try this way first.
Yeah.
Like you just got to be education. Education is important. Knowledge is important about something before you take that step into the next realm.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely want to say that I have mad respect and appreciation for you for educating people about, gear and, whatever it is, and just like kind of sharing the perspective. And like you said, you are very knowledgeable on it. I think that, it can be very appealing to people, or even younger people might just be like, oh yeah, let me like hop on it. But, it's cool to hear, you emphasize like try to be natural as long as possible. And like,
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
can be natural forever, like that's probably the goal. But, like
yeah.
just
That's
be smart if you are
mhm.
gonna, mess with this stuff. So I guess I'm curious, Troy, do you have any like, I don't know if regret's the right word, but like, do you wish you stayed natural longer, or that you were natural?
Yeah. I often dwell on that. I really do because I think I have like one or two pictures of me when I was 19, 20 before I started,
Okay.
and I had a really good physique for a 19-year-old, but at the time I wanted more. Like
Hmm.
I wanted to be Arnold, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler,
Yeah.
Phil Heath. I was like, man, I want to be a bodybuilder, and I had no idea how hard of a lifestyle that was to try to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And people think, well, you just take the steroids and eat. No, I mean, there's so much planning and just everything that goes into that. But regrets. I do regret starting at the age I did because I did some long term damage to my testosterone levels. So actually am on TRT now due to I don't my tests basically don't function no more. So
Okay.
I damaged myself in the process. So that's why I try to advocate to people and, emphasize to them like, hey, look, you're 20, you're 19, like
Yeah.
just ride this out, man. Just give it 5, 6 more years, see where you're at, and then make a decision from there.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I like I said, I love working out. I'm natural. I've always been natural. I'm not like that big of a guy or anything, to be honest. So like no one ever would question if I'm natural or not. But like I mentioned, like Sush and James, those are two guys that I have mad respect for. I think they're awesome. Love what they're doing. They're crushing it. They're in my mind like the next wave of fitness.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like those are two young guys that I'm like, man, like I hope that they truly like feel comfortable and know their stuff with they're open with being on gear, so hopefully like they've done their research and feel good about it and like
Yeah.
won't have like long-term regrets or anything.
James and Sush are cool ass dudes. And
Yeah,
I know Sush gets kind of hate here and there, but dude's cool as hell. Like he invited us to his house. We all went in there and he introduced himself. Like, hey, my name's Brandon Sush. How you guys doing? It's my crib. Help yourself, whatever you want. And like just very,
nice.
very humble. And James is just a freak of nature. I mean,
He is.
even in person, you just tell he's just a shit brick house. And I'm like, man, you're a big dude. Like
Yeah.
you are a bodybuilder. And like his genetics are bodybuilder genetics.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, I look at pictures of the dude and I'm like, "That guy is insane." Like, his genetics are insane, like,
Yeah.
his hard I mean, and he obviously works for it too, like, it's not just genetics, like, that definitely helps, but he's a hardworking dude, and he seems awesome, and yeah, like, I have noticed that Sush kinda gets some hate here and there, but the dude seems great, and I mean, shout out to Sush, like, I I saw, like, recently and stuff, he's what, 21 or 22 or something. He
Yeah.
just got a Urus and like those
Yeah.
guys are just crushing it, man.
Yeah,
Like it's
man.
so cool to see.
They have a huge house and
Yeah.
basically he was talking about how much money he banks and invests his money. And they're young. Imagine
Yeah.
you're what 25, so imagine
Yep.
you at 21 with the kind of money they're making. What would
I
you
know,
do?
dude.
And
It's insane. And like
yeah,
that's the thing, like they seem like good like people that are, humble and doing good, smart things with their money. And they're so young. Like they could, you know, go through it in a day if they wanted to, I'm sure. But
yeah,
like it sounds like they just have good heads on their shoulders. So it's cool to hear that
yeah.
like, from you meeting them, like you think the same.
It's yeah, they definitely are doing the right thing with their money, investing in it, and they're breaking some of it down for us. And I
Yeah,
was like, dude, that's awesome. Like that's exactly what I would do at 33 years old right now. I would do exactly what you're doing.
for sure. Yeah. So, Troy, you kind of mentioned just growing up and stuff and things being tough financially and, at the time where you were homeless for a while and stuff and then moving in with your grandma and stuff. So, you've definitely been through a lot of different things. How have you managed to stay positive? Or like, we've talked off this recording and, I'll be the first to say you're probably one of the most positive people that I've met. Like, how do you keep that
Nice.
mindset or like what helped you to get there?
Um, so I it was a long time ago when I was like at the rock bottom. I was going through a lot in my relationship, and I was going through a lot with my family, and
Hmm.
it's just like there's no other way to put it. Like a lot was going on, and I somebody was like, "Look, man, you're already at rock bottom. Like there's nothing else that could go wrong, right?" I'm like, "At
Yeah.
this rate, no." And he's like, "You got to find a positive in everything you do, in every situation you're put in life. Try to find a positive and soak that up." He's like, "That little bit of hope, that little bit of light will get you through the next day to the next day." And each time, no matter what. So I've had many videos I made that I would start editing. I get ahead of myself and the video would like accidentally delete or wouldn't edit right. And you're talking hour, 2 hours to think, record, transfer it, edit it, and then you edit it, you
Hmm.
get it all together, you render it, you're talking about another 30 minutes, and then uploading it, it's not there. So now you are 3 hours of work for nothing. And you got to redo it all again, or you got to tap and say, well, no video this week because that got ruined. It's happened a lot, and you got to find a positive. And then I look at that kind of situation, for example, I will bust out another video really fast and throw it together, edit it, and it turns out very good. And I'm like, wow, like I just did a video in less than an hour, edited it and got it out.
Hmm.
And I'm like, how did I do that? It's because when you're back against the wall and you look at the positive and you just look for basically an end goal, you become focused on that end goal. And anything in between there, between you and your goal, you kind of just you either accept it. You if it's not good for you, you just ignore it. You just keep pushing through it. So um, I think for me to keep finding positivity in every situation, no matter the situation, I just try to always think about what is my goal here? What am I trying to do? Why am I doing what I'm doing? How's it going to help me? And if I don't do it, who am I letting down besides myself? Who's it going to affect besides me? So I use those little instrument tools like that to kind of help me get through whatever obstacle or that for that day that I'm having trouble with.
Man, that's powerful stuff. Like I think it really puts in perspective when you think about those things, or even, like I like that you said, who am I letting down, like other than myself, right? Like, and for you,
Yeah.
you're a family guy, so like
Hmm.
you have your family that you have to think about and stuff, and how could this, sure, I might want to give up on streaming tonight, or not put out as much content, but like maybe that's what's helping me support my family right now, so like I got to keep going for them. So it definitely can help when you think about your reasons why, or like what your goals
Yeah.
are, and
Yeah.
it can be huge.
It can help you in some of your most desperate times of need if you think about the ones you love the most. I mean, it sounds like a movie trailer, but it's like that's factual. That's a lot of facts.
Yeah, definitely, man. So you mentioned like having those goals and focusing in on those. Do you have like some current goals that you're chasing after that you wouldn't mind sharing?
Yeah, absolutely. I 2022. So my new mindset isn't oh new year, new me. My mindset is new year, same goals,
Okay.
and I chase the goals I've already had implemented in place. I am trying to grow my Twitch right now to a new level. Like I got a goal of like 5,000 followers by the end of 2022. I
Okay.
have my YouTube. I would like to get more structural, like understanding of YouTube algorithm. So I need to learn some more of that. And personally, my own goal is like I want to be a better father. I want to have more time with my family, more time with my kids, and I want to also have more time for myself. And I know that sounds like like that sounds kind of like not right, but what I mean is like more self-caring time, like more time to read, more time to
Okay.
meditate in silence, more time just going for walks or just, less time on social media is my big thing too. Like I want to put my phone down as much as I can and pay attention to the world here and now.
I love that, man. Yeah, I think that like when we can be present in the moment and really enjoy it, like that's when we really kind of like feel our best and we get the most out of life. So I love that you have that kind of goal of just putting the phone down and enjoying things and enjoying
Yeah.
where you're at. That's awesome,
I,
man.
I I think a lot of people should do that because we get so I mean, we've all done it. You get lost in your phone for hours and
Mhm.
then you have nothing to show after that. You're like, what did I just do?
Exactly. Yeah. And you have a family, so you have um you want to spend time with your family. You love your family. You want to spend time with them, of course. It's not like you have to, but
Right.
there's that, and then you're streaming, you're doing YouTube, you might do some meal plan or coaching here and there. You love the gym, so you want to work out, you want to spend time for yourself. Like, how do you balance all that, or like how do you make sure you can fit all that in without kind of burning out, or just overextending yourself?
It's, there's some there's some days that I ask myself that same question
Okay.
because I literally wake up and I'm like, okay, I gotta get up, get my breakfast, grab my meals, go to work, get my gym stuff, go to the gym, go get the kids, come home, and then I plan an hour or two, hang out with them, shower, lay them down, come downstairs, start my stream up, or edit my video. So the way to find balance is we as a human race run off of time. Time is everything.
Hmm.
Whether it's a clock time, in the moment time, free time. Now, you ever done something that was like a task or a job, and time flew, just felt
Yep.
like minutes, right?
Yep.
That's what they call free time. It's where you're so in the moment of what you're doing, time just doesn't even cease to exist.
Yeah.
So we have that happen so much because we're always like subconsciously doing something. That's
Hmm.
how you're able to text and drive. because your body will basically subconsciously drive you where you're going while you're looking at your phone. It's
Right.
creepy to think about, but
It is, yeah.
um, the point to all that is if you basically engrave it in your head every day what you have to do each morning, your body subconsciously will make sure that you do those things, such as brush your teeth, put deodorant on, take a shower, brush your hair, put your clothes on. Like you subconsciously are already going to do all that because you're in a routine of doing it. So once
Yeah.
you get in a routine of doing, job, family, girlfriend, friends, YouTube, Twitch, meal plans, you you basically just adapt and you learn to your body just learns a routine and you stick with that routine, and then you get the results.
I love it. So it's kind of like find that routine, get in that rhythm, and then you kind of just go on autopilot from there and
Yeah,
just
yeah,
you
that's a
make it
great way to look
happen.
at it. Autopilot, yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Like you just cruise, and every now and then you run to a slight little error and you adjust it, and you keep going back on cruise.
I love that. Yeah, and I think that that's a good point that you made, Troy. Like, sometimes you might have to adjust it here and there, but like once you get like the foundation of it, it's just like a small tweak here or there. It's not like redoing the whole routine. It's just,
Yeah,
adapting a little bit,
yeah,
like we
like
said earlier.
redirecting the wheel. You know.
Exactly. I love it, man. Awesome. So, to anyone that's listening that has enjoyed this conversation or really resonated with something that Troy's talked about, whether it's about fitness, it's about maybe you're thinking about going on gear or staying natural. Maybe you're interested in gaming or becoming a Twitch streamer, whatever the case may be, definitely check out Troy. He's a great person to connect with and to check out his content. What would be like the best way for people to follow you, find your content, Troy?
The best way to follow me would be I YouTube is Troy Hutchinson, or you could
Mm-hmm.
Twitch. Twitch is another one. I don't know.
Yep.
I have a Twitch name on there. That's something I'm really putting a lot of time into.
Okay.
So
So main ones probably YouTube and Twitch is where best places for people to find your stuff.
yeah, absolutely. I'm on those at least 3-4 times a week.
Okay, perfect. So I'll grab all that information. So in the description of this episode, I'll put Troy's YouTube channel and his Twitch. So definitely check him out. Troy's a great dude. So even if maybe you don't like gaming and you just want to hear a cool guy talk about some cool stuff, definitely check out his streams and his content on YouTube. It's very entertaining, but also very educational and informational. So if you are passionate about fitness as well, you'll probably get a lot out of it. Or if maybe fitness is new to you, it's a great source to find some information. I know, you and I kind of chatted about the most recent YouTube upload you had was about, kind of eating around the holidays.
Yeah.
And I've been, you know, passionate about fitness for, geez, probably 10, 11 years, but I still found that video very valuable. So
Heck
promise
yeah,
you
man.
guys,
Heck yeah.
check out Troy's stuff. He's got some good stuff to say. So check him out, YouTube, Twitch. Again, it'll be in the description. But Troy, is there any last thoughts, message you give to anyone that's listening?
Oh man. Well, first off, I'd just like to say thanks for having me on here, man. This is one of my first times doing this, and it was a good time, man. Like time just flew by. It's awesome.
I know.
Um, if I mean, my biggest thing is, like I said, like he said, we have a great community at the Twitch community, like I have put together, and we discuss a lot about life, fitness, but we also talk about reality, like what could happen and like bad things happen, how you got to overcome them. It's a very good chill vibe, and like Zach has said, like you don't want to do if you're not into the gaming. We don't do all just gaming. We do just chatty sessions where we just hang out. We all vibe together, listen to music, watch funny videos. It's just something really down to earth to do. And uh, I really feel like if you're looking for something to connect with other people around the world, this would be a spot for you to come drop in.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, with the way things are, it can be tough to meet people and to find a community these days. So I think, go find Troy's Twitch again in the description of this episode, and you'll have a great community to connect with, and maybe you'll make some lifelong friends from it. But Troy, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like you said, time has just flown by
Yeah,
with you. It's been a super fun conversation. I have no doubt, man, that you're going to continue to crush it. You already have been. You are currently, and I know that there's going to be a lot of success in your future. So I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to continue to follow the journey that been following of
Take
yours for
care.
years now, man. And
Yeah, I appreciate you,
appreciate
man.
you. Yeah, appreciate you. And maybe like a year from now or something, we'll have to have you back and hear an update of all the things you're doing. But it's been a real pleasure, man.
Yeah, same here, brother. Whenever you want to talk, you know how to get a hold of me, brother.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it. See you,
All
Troy.
right, man.
Take care.
You too. Take care, man.
Thanks. Bye.